Hi, everyone, and welcome to AB Conversations, where we will help you CFP your way out of it. A podcast where you get into the minds of a couple certified financial planners on how we think and feel about everyday financial planning questions and what should really matter most to you. A healthier financial life starts now.
Hey, Ben. Happy podcast day.
Hello, Adam. I'm wearing the same tie as I did for the last one, so...
Yep. The last one that we recorded last week. Wink, wink.
Caught me. How you
Should've
doing?
taken your tie off and
I
opened your
know.
button, and then it could be completely different.
Here I am, giving it away. All the secrets.
Yep. So today, we're going to get into an interesting topic, I think. We certainly... The idea was always in financial planning, right? You had to have a goal, a clearly defined goal of which you needed to then do the math to figure out if you could reach that goal. And that was planning, quote unquote. And I think we're here to dispel that myth and share how we view it. And we can kind of back our way into maybe those specific measurable goals. But we firmly believe that purpose, right?
Yeah.
Why money matters. What are you looking to accomplish with that money? Like, what are your life goals? What do you want to see happen? And then we can back our way into what does that mean financially?
Amen, brother. I believe that is so well said. And I believe it really is one of those things. I hope people are not doing financial. I hope there are people out there who will do financial planning because they've heard that, because the pressure of needing to define some sort of financial goal, I hope that just goes away, right?
Yeah.
Let's be clear. That's our job. It's our job to take what matters most to you, like you said, and kind of almost reverse engineer it into what does this mean then for your finances so that things can be aligned, right? Yeah. And it is, those are good questions. What matters most to you? For some people, it's like, what are you trying to avoid? Like,
Yeah.
we want to put that all packaged into some sort of statement of like, what's the financial purpose behind the decisions that you're making, so that whatever that is for you, right? I point to Carl Richards. Again, he's somebody in the industry that we follow that I think behaviorally kind of gets it and how to communicate it. For him, it's spending time outdoors with his family. Like that is the purpose behind what he does, to lead to that. So that doesn't sound like it has anything to do with finances.
Right.
But I think if there were some big decisions that he needed to make, he doesn't fall into this kind of cycle of not being able to figure out what to do if he can keep the main thing, and that is, I'm aligned to this.
Yes. It's figuring out what those 1, 3, however many, like that's your guiding North Star that all of your decisions hopefully align with, right? And that's ultimately our goal, is try to align what you're looking to see happen with your financial resources. Like, let's make sure these things are actually working together in concert and you're not having competing thoughts.
Yeah, I don't want the good professional resources for this and the good studies on like how to actually accomplish a goal. I don't want that to sound like we're throwing that out the window, right? There is something to breaking down a goal into smaller pieces. I'm sure you've heard the acronym SMART goals. It's specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time bound.
Yeah.
Right. There is something to that, but I don't want it to feel like if you don't have all of that SMART goal, that it's not a good goal. Like,
right.
That's bullcrap. Like, adding parameters to goals, like that's good enough to start creating the direction that you need to be going in. And then we're going to help you like start to define those SMART aspects of it to make sure that, we're doing what we need to do.
Yeah, I think that's the key. And you said it. And I'm thinking in my head to a recent client example. It was a younger client that has kids, is saving for education for their kids, but there wasn't a specific goal, right? There wasn't, I want to cover all of their education costs in college, or I want to cover half, or I want to cover a year, or I want to cover a specific dollar amount. It was just, I want to save what I can for my kids.
Yeah. Now I know who you're talking about.
Retirement, it's so far out there. I don't have a specific goal. Just at some point, I want to be able to not have to work, but like there weren't firmly defined goals, and that was okay. We got to the heart of like the purpose behind everything in his financial life was I saw both of my parents pass away before they retired, and I don't want to leave anything on the table. I want to provide as much as I can for my wife and my
Yep.
kids. And that was the purpose. And now we can back our way into, okay, if that is the driving force here, then let's figure out how to make that fit with all of your other resources so that you can accomplish that as kind of the main motivator behind everything that you're doing.
Yeah, and remain flexible, right? Because
Yes.
here's kind of the point. You can say you have a financial goal, and like that's great. People come to us, it's I want to retire by this
Sure.
time. I know I need this much money. Like, great. That does make our job easier and we can align to that. But by the
Yeah.
way, here's what we know. Your goals are going to change. When it comes to finances, like these things are going to change.
Yeah.
The purpose behind them, the core of who you are and how you make decisions and what really motivates you, like your why.
Hmm.
Hi Katie. Like your why, that's not going to change. That's probably
Right.
deeply embedded in who you are.
Yeah.
So we got to get that out of people. And that was a great example. Thinking of that person because I think we struggled with that on the front end. We're like, man, like yeah, he's on top of things. Like,
Yeah.
what are we going to give him if we don't have like save this much by this time? Like,
Hmm.
but that's not it. It's
Yeah.
it's remaining flexible and being able to take a lot of these different moving parts and say, well, yeah, if this is ultimately what you're looking to do, just broadly provide for your family, then keep doing this, keep doing this. By the way, we can tweak this, and
Yeah.
let's just stay on top of it. Like that's
Yeah.
good enough. We've created the parameters for that to lead him down the path that he needs to be going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's often why we ask the question too. And I'm going back to kind of the how do we reverse engineer purpose into goal? Um,
Hmm.
and I know we've said this in different podcasts. I think it's okay to kind of take that and put it into like 2 to 3 year chunks or five
Yeah.
year chunks, especially when it comes to young accumulators in retirement. But I'm thinking of another client situation where the effort is put into making the right decision. And by his definition, like that's the perfect decision all the time. And without that overarching, like, here's the main thing, the ball kept moving.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can't really figure out, well, if I'm tackling this goal, but I'm not tackling this goal because I'm tackling this goal, then am I doing the right thing? Man, what's the purpose? Like, what are we really working towards? Without that guiding star, people can get really stuck.
Yeah. You get twisted like a pretzel.
And it's
Yeah.
that, let me throw it to you. It's kind of that, like, I don't know if this is really technically a rule of unintended consequences, but that's kind of how we refer to it.
Yeah, where you get so focused on any one idea or one strategy, or just you get so focused on I want to limit my tax exposure, right? I want to save as much on taxes today. Well, that's great, right? You save all your money in a tax deferred position. You're doing all these things to limit your tax bill today, but by making those decisions, how's that affecting what your tax bill is going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, at age 72, if you have money in a retirement account where the IRS says, hey, by the way, you got to take roughly 4% out this year, and every
Yeah.
year, until you die, it's going to go up. And then you can't control your taxes at some point in the future. It's that the unintended consequences of decisions that are being made today that we often see. It's our role again to give the context, give the perspective, understand the trade-offs, and really see the big picture. Where oftentimes, if you're focused on one particular thing, it's hard to do that, right? What's the saying? It's hard to see the forest from the trees, or something like that.
Yeah, and that's one of those examples again where I think people just kind of get in their own way. And if you truly are able to articulate the purpose behind things, again, that's going to become clearer. And how do we do that? I think it's just a lot of the why questions. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about conversation we had, wonderful people we just met in the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. And look, people usually come to us with some sort of fire to put out.
Hmm.
And in her case, it may be, look, I don't think I can take this job. Like physically, mentally, I don't think I can continue to do this.
Yeah.
Well, is it really important that she define exactly what she wants retirement to look like and the money that she wants to live off of and what is it going to be this year versus it's not at all, right? Because
Yeah.
that's not what matters to her. And at, mid 50s, like, again, things are going to change. But can we at least get to the heart of like, okay, what matters to her? Having some flexibility of time, feeling a little appreciated, being able to spend time with a spouse that's been retired for a little while. Like
Hmm.
the rest of it we can work out. We don't have to have that clearly defined right now.
Yeah, and I think that's where like the purpose can dictate the goal in that, okay, now that we understand this is her why, we can then go through the planning process and give some parameters, right? Give some guardrails of here's what we see can work. Does that feel comfortable? Right? Is this a scenario that you could see working for your life? And if not, then let's figure out what those variables need to be, or what changes need to happen to make that a comfortable path. But I think a lot of it is just giving those, right? It's the bumper bowling analogy, right? Giving those guardrails. As long as you can stay within here, that feels okay. And we think that will fit your situation, allow you to meet, your needs going forward. Then yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need to firmly define, I want this amount of income and I need to retire at this age. Like it can be slightly flexible.
Well, and I like that visual, Adam, because it's not only rails here, but you're also putting a floor to something, right?
Right.
Oftentimes, success for us is just knowing what we don't want to see happen
Yeah.
and making sure that we're
Yeah.
avoiding that. So again, sticking with this potential client situation, it's really not, can I retire successfully for the rest of my life? That's not the point, and we can't answer that because you don't have enough definition around that.
Yeah.
But we can talk about, look, yeah, you can do this, take this step forward, and if we know that there's not these crazy unintended consequences because we've considered X, Y, and Z, then it may be good enough for her to know I'm not taking 10 steps backwards by making this type of
Hmm.
decision. So
Yeah.
again, as long as we're aligned to moving forward in a healthy way, both mentally and financially, then that to us sometimes that's good enough. It's
Yeah,
good enough.
you said it earlier too, of trying to break it into smaller bite-sized periods of time, right? Because I think that's part of the problem with trying to define goals, or like just even have a specific goal, is that they feel, for the most part, usually they are longer term, right?
Yeah.
They're so far out on the horizon. It's hard to even wrap your mind around that coming to fruition at some point, right? It's the whole point of like delayed gratification, right? Well, us as a society, we're not so great at that anymore. We want that instant gratification, and thinking about, in our world, right? If we're in our 30s and retirement is 25, 30 years from now, like that's hard to wrap your mind around what's life is going to look like so far in the future. And that's okay. Let's back our way into, again, it's the purpose, it's the why is this stuff important to us?
Yep.
And then again, you can then start to break that into smaller, more digestible pieces that you can start to see some progress over shorter periods of time.
Yeah. Jot down the next micro action you can
Yeah.
take to put yourself
Yeah.
moving in the right direction. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good one. I hope people again hear this and feel good about it. I think one of the things that we're giving the secret sauce here to like how we want to work with people. We will help you put out your fire, right? If you're coming to us in a first meeting and it's, hey, I have to make this decision or this is what's wrong, we'll help you there. But we're going to ask a lot of questions around why. Why does this matter? Why is this prioritized?
Yeah.
Because we want you to keep perspective on that with every other decision you're going to make, even if it's not a clearly defined goal.
Yep. Well said.
Anything else on the topic of, well, I don't even know if we use these words. We lump that together by saying we want somebody to have their statement of like financial purpose. Like, why does this matter? So anything else on statement of financial purpose?
No, I don't think so.
All right, man. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for what you do.
Short and sweet.
got it.
See
you
ya.
out there.
Hey everyone, Adam and I really appreciate you tuning in. Please note that the opinions we voiced in the show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be most appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, your accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to making any decisions or investing. Thanks for listening.